You know, there's nothing better than watching Frank Luntz sort of pull immediate reaction from folks with these like Frankenstein-type dials. But it's impeccably accurate, and it is brilliantly executed. He joins us right now. And Frank, I was intrigued by the immediate response a lot of voters got, and those who were there just sort of gauging the reaction to this debate. And Marco Rubio scored well. Before I get right to this was the one that intrigued me and the response to it, then I want you to talk about it. Take a look.
In 2008, Barack Obama missed 60 or 70% of his votes, and the same newspaper endorsed him again. So this is another example of the double standard that exists in this country between the mainstream media and the conservative media.
The Senate, what is it, like a French work week? You get like 3 days where you have to show up? You can campaign or just resign and let someone else take the job.
You know how many votes John McCain missed when he was carrying out that furious comeback that you're now modeling it under?
He wasn't my
No, Jeb, I don't remember. Well, let me tell you, I don't remember you ever complaining about John McCain's vote record. The only reason why you're doing it now is because we're running for the same position, and someone has convinced you that attacking me is going to help you.
Well,
Here's the bottom line. My campaign is going to be about the future of America. It's not going to be about attacking anyone else on this stage.
Well, the CON, was that conservative and moderate?
Yes,
response?
exactly.
Okay. So what does that tell you?
So it tells me that Jeb Bush made the biggest mistake of his presidential campaign. The second most unpopular candidate should not be attacking the second most popular candidate in terms of favorability and positive ratio. And Marco Rubio knew that this was coming because Jeb had started to challenge him several days earlier. So this is politics 101 for the people watching. The lines as they go up and down, the higher the lines go, the more favorable the reaction. Did you watch when Jeb Bush was speaking that it caved? It went down immediately, as you can see right there. And the more that Jeb went after Marco, the angrier our participants got. And they represent Republicans from across the country because they felt that Jeb was doing the work of the mainstream media rather than focusing on the real enemy, which is Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and it was the mainstream media that posited the question in the first place about those missed votes and everything else, and he could have left it at that. But later on, the governor got himself, that is, Bush, in trouble on fantasy football in a certain response by another governor. Let's take a look.
We have $19 trillion in debt. We have people out of work. We have ISIS and al-Qaeda attacking us. And we're talking about fantasy football? Can we stop?
Or we should explain there that Governor Bush was talking about maybe the Congress should look into the fantasy football phenomenon here and whether it is a rigged game and the gambling, et cetera. But it got lost in that whole argument there, didn't it?
So three things that happened right there. Number one is Chris Christie is one of the greatest debaters of our time. And when he looked straight into the camera, Republicans felt that he was talking right to them. Number two, he used the most important word that Republican candidates should be using a lot more often, which is stop. Stop spending. Stop taxing. Stop regulating. And in this case, stop focusing on issues that don't matter. And number three, the intensity, the passion, what Chris Christie has been saying is give him the chance to challenge Hillary Clinton in those debates, and he will win. It's a very powerful argument. There are only two presidential candidates who've been running on that strategy, Carly Fiorina and Chris Christie. And of the two, I think Christie is stronger in his case that he would defeat Hillary Clinton in a debate.
Is that right? Now, let's talk a little bit about how this affects Marco Rubio, because it's such a crowded field, and you're looking at establishment candidates, maybe by that, I'll group them, Chris Christie in with that. Who wins out in that? I mean, obviously they can't elect multiple or nominate multiple candidates. So if you have a tier of the anti-establishment guys, let's say Donald Trump or Ben Carson, you have establishment guys, Chris Christie or Marco Rubio. Where does this race stand?
It's interesting. I've never talked about this before on Fox. I don't see it as establishment, anti-establishment. I see it as positive, negative. And you've got Marco Rubio, who's the most positive candidate in the field. You've got John Kasich and Donald Trump. Kasich says he's positive, but he's really attacking other candidates. I don't think he performed well yesterday because in the very first question, he came out against everybody. So you have some candidates who will attack, some candidates who will present a positive view towards the future. Rubio's advantage is that he talks about the American dream. He's lived it. It's part of his life. It's part of his culture. That's why I think Rubio has the advantage.
All right. Good job.